The lawyer's letter arrived 3 days before I was supposed to sign away $5 million. I was in my small East Vancouver kitchen, rain streaking the windows, when I heard the mail slot clatter. My dog Bailey lifted her head but didn't move. She knew the mail usually meant nothing important. The envelope was cream-colored, heavy, expensive. The return address read, Reed Morrison and Associates, Barristers and Solicitors. I didn't recognize it. Not my mother's old firm, not anyone I'd known. Inside was a single sheet of paper with a handwritten note clipped to a business card. Ms. Warren, this is regarding your mother's estate. It is imperative that we speak before December 20th. Please call immediately. This is time-sensitive. Patricia Morrison. December 20th. The day I was supposed to sign the documents my siblings had sent over. The day I was supposed to take $5 million and walk away from the Warren family forever. I dialed the number. A crisp voice answered. Morrison and Associates. Patricia Morrison speaking. This is Emily Warren, I said. I received your letter. Can you come to my office this afternoon? She asked. It's regarding your mother's estate. I cannot discuss details over the phone. 3 days. That was all the time I had. 3 days to decide if I was going to sign for the money or uncover a secret my mother had kept hidden for years. Bailey looked up at me, those old wise eyes watching. Somehow I knew whatever waited at that office wasn't going to be easy. 3 days. That's all I have. 3 days to decide whether I take the money or uncover a secret that could destroy everything I thought I knew about my family. The office smelled faintly of old books and coffee. Patricia Morrison, a woman in her 70s with sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, gestured to a chair across from her desk. Ms. Warren, I'm glad you called. I've been trying to find you for 2 weeks, she said. Why? I asked, my voice tighter than I expected. She pulled a folder from her drawer. Your mother came to see me 6 months ago. She wanted to make a new will. My heart skipped. A new will? My mother had always been careful, deliberate. Every decision measured. Yes, Patricia continued. She was very specific about wanting to work with a different firm. Someone her other children didn't know about. She said she needed to make sure certain arrangements were honored. She handed me a document. The first page read, Last Will and Testament of Margaret Elise Warren, dated June 15, 2024. I scanned the legal clauses, my hands trembling slightly. Then I reached the distribution section. To my daughter Emily, I read aloud. I leave the entirety of my estate, including all properties, investments, and personal effects, with the following stipulations. I looked up at Patricia Morrison. This leaves everything to me? Not entirely, she said gently. There are small bequests to your siblings. Your brother receives $50,000, your sister $50,000. The remainder, approximately $14 million after taxes, goes to you. The room seemed to spin. 14 million. My mother had left me everything she hadn't left my siblings. All these years, all the resentment I'd carried. It all collided in that moment. Patricia reached into the folder again and handed me a sealed envelope. Your mother asked me to deliver this personally. But since I couldn't locate you, I'm glad you found me. My name was written on it in her shaky handwriting. Familiar even after a decade. I held it in my hands, feeling the weight of years and words unsaid. You should know, Patricia continued. Your mother was very clear-minded when she made this will. I required a medical evaluation confirming her capacity and had 2 witnesses present. It is legally sound. Do my siblings know about this? I asked, suspicion curling in my chest. Her expression said it all. Your brother requested a meeting with me 3 weeks ago. He wanted copies of all documents our firm had on file. I told him there was a will, but I couldn't release it until after probate. My pulse quickened. He knows. Yes. Which is why I suspect he's been trying to get you to sign a settlement before December 20th. After that date, the will becomes public record. I sank back in the chair, my mind racing. My siblings weren't trying to protect the estate from contests. They were trying to silence me before I discovered the truth. 5 million. That was the amount they'd offered to settle with. 14 million was my mother's choice for me. The betrayal, the greed, the years of assumptions. I felt it all in one suffocating wave. They offered me 5 million to sign away 14. And now I have to decide. Do I take the easy money? Or fight for the truth my mother wanted me to have? I left Patricia Morrison's office with the envelope pressed tightly in my hands. The city streets seemed sharper somehow, the cold wind cutting against my face, as if the world itself knew the storm I was about to walk into. Every step toward my apartment was heavy with thought. I had grown up thinking my siblings and I shared a fair, predictable world. But now the foundation of that belief had cracked, and I could feel the splinters beneath my feet. At home, I locked the door and sank into the sofa. The envelope sat on the coffee table like a ticking bomb. Slowly, carefully, I broke the seal. Inside was a single sheet of paper in my mother's handwriting. Emily, if you are reading this, it means you have found the will. I am proud of you for seeking what is right, even when it is hard. Do not let anyone sway you from your path. Some will try to tempt you with easy solutions. Remember, I trusted you with this because you are strong and you are fair. Love always, Mom. The words burned with a mix of warmth and warning. She knew my siblings would try to manipulate me. She knew the tests of loyalty and courage I would face. My phone buzzed. A text from my brother. Hey, can we talk? It's about Mom's will. Let's meet today. I stared at it. My stomach tightened. He sounded calm, almost casual, but I knew better. Calm meant he was planning something. A knock on my door startled me. My heart jumped. I wasn't expecting anyone. I peeked through the peephole. No one was there. Just a small package left on the step. Inside, a flash drive. No note. No explanation. My hands shook as I plugged it into my laptop. A video file opened. It was my mother. Sitting in her study, older but unmistakably her. She looked straight at the camera, her voice steady. Emily, if you are seeing this, it means I have passed. I want you to see the truth before anyone can twist it. Your siblings, they will try to take what is not theirs. Remember the family business? The hidden accounts? Everything is documented. Use it wisely and protect what is rightfully yours. The weight of her words hit me like a storm. She had left me more than money. She had left me a roadmap, a shield, and a challenge. I leaned back, trying to absorb it all. The decision I faced wasn't just about money. It was about justice, loyalty, and the legacy my mother trusted me to protect. And then I realized something. My siblings wouldn't wait. They would move fast, using charm, pressure, and deceit. They think I'm unprepared. But I have her words, her plan, and the truth. Now the real battle begins, and I have no choice but to fight. The next morning, I woke to a cold, gray sky and the quiet hum of the city waking up. Bailey, my loyal golden retriever, nudged my hand as if sensing the tension I carried. I patted his head absent-mindedly, my mind elsewhere, on my siblings, on the will, and on the flash drive my mother had left me. I knew I couldn't waste a moment. My brother's casual text was a trap, and my sister had always been the peacemaker. But even she might be swayed if my brother pulled the right strings. I needed a strategy. I needed patience, observation, and most importantly, proof. I started with the basics, sorting through my mother's files, her notes, her letters. Every envelope, every receipt, every bank statement she had ever kept. I cross-referenced accounts, dates, and contacts. Hours turned into the evening, and I barely moved from the desk. Bailey curled at my feet, his old eyes watching me with the quiet understanding only a loyal companion could provide. Then came the call. Emily, please, can we meet? Just us. We need to talk. It was my brother, his voice calm but insistent. I agreed, deliberately giving nothing away. I suggested a neutral location, a small cafe halfway between our homes. He hesitated but accepted. My sister called next. Emily, I think it's time we sort this out together. I don't want this to get ugly. I agreed, but in the back of my mind, I already knew what ugly meant to them. Smooth words, veiled threats, promises of compromise. But I had my mother's guidance. I had the flash drive. And most importantly, I had clarity. At the cafe they arrived. My brother in a sharp suit, polished and confident. My sister looking anxious yet composed. My brother's eyes were calculating. My sisters were cautious. I invited them to sit, sipping my coffee slowly, letting the silence stretch, letting them sense that I was fully aware of the game they were trying to play. Emily, my brother started, we just want to settle things peacefully. Mom's estate, it's complicated. I think you might be making this harder than it needs to be. I looked at him steadily. Harder? Harder would be if I didn't know the truth. If I signed away what was rightfully mine without understanding what's at stake. My sister shifted, glancing between us. I don't want to fight, she said softly. I just want us to stay family. I nodded. I want that too. But family isn't only about appearances or money. It's about honesty. And right now, honesty is all I have. My brother leaned in, trying to charm me, using words my mother had warned me about. Urgency, pressure, flattery. But I was ready. Every file I had, every document, every recording from the flash drive, it was all my shield. I pulled out my laptop and showed them the files, account statements, legal documents, my mother's video. Everything she left me is here. Every move she planned. Every choice she made. I will honor her wishes. The room went quiet. My sister's eyes filled with tears, my brother's jaw tightened. He realized finally that the easy path, the $5 million settlement he had hoped I would take, was gone. Gone, replaced by knowledge, preparation, and the will to fight for what was mine. I leaned back, letting the weight of the moment sink in. For the first time in 10 years I felt powerful, grounded, and aligned with my mother's wisdom. They thought they could corner me, but now, armed with truth and guided by her hand, I'm ready. And they won't see what comes next. The day of the estate meeting arrived with a brittle chill in the air. The mansion, usually imposing with its ivy-clad walls and polished marble floors, seemed almost silent, as if holding its breath for the confrontation to come. I parked at the edge of the driveway, Bailey quietly watching from the passenger seat. He had been my anchor through all of this, my steady reminder that calm observation often spoke louder than words. Inside, my brother and sister were already there, waiting in the grand foyer. My brother's posture was rigid, polished, calculating. Every movement designed to show confidence. My sister looked uneasy, her hands clutched around a small leather bag as though it contained all her courage. I walked in slowly, taking in the sight of the home that had been ours, the home my mother had loved, and the place where so many secrets had been quietly kept. Every portrait, every piece of furniture, felt like a silent witness. We gathered in the main sitting room, sunlight slicing through the tall windows, casting angular shadows across the floor. My brother started first, his voice smooth. Emily, we don't have to do this the hard way. We can agree to a fair division. You don't need to make enemies of us. I met his gaze steadily. I'm not here to make enemies. I'm here to honor Mom. And honoring her means following her instructions completely. Not partially, not conveniently, not the way you wish it had been. My sister shifted, her voice trembling. I don't want this to ruin us. We're family. And that's why I'm being honest, I said. Because Mom trusted me with her wishes. And I will not betray that trust for comfort or convenience. That's when I opened the flash drive. I played the video of my mother, her voice calm but firm, detailing her intentions for each asset, each account, and every condition she had set. My brother's confident mask faltered. My sister's hands gripped the edge of the chair. The weight of truth filled the room like a tidal wave. You see, I said softly, Mom made her choice. She trusted me. And I intend to follow through. My brother's jaw tightened. He realized that charm, threats, or manipulation would not work here. Not with me, and not with the proof of my mother's foresight. Every plan he had carefully crafted, every expectation that I would falter, collapsed in the face of her wisdom and my preparation. My sister finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I understand now. I just hope we can find a way to move forward without breaking apart completely. I nodded. We can. But only if we respect her instructions. That's the only way to honor her memory and eventually ourselves. There was silence after that. The air was thick, not with tension this time, but with the quiet acknowledgement of truth. We gathered in the main sitting room, sunlight slicing through the tall windows, casting angular shadows across the floor. My brother started first, his voice smooth. Emily, we don't have to do this the hard way. We can agree to a fair division. You don't need to make enemies of us. I met his gaze steadily. I'm not here to make enemies. I'm here to honor Mom. And honoring her means following her instructions completely. Not partially, not conveniently, not the way you wish it had been. My sister shifted, her voice trembling. I don't want this to ruin us. We're family. And that's why I'm being honest, I said. Because Mom trusted me with her wishes. And I will not betray that trust for comfort or convenience. That's when I opened the flash drive. I played the video of my mother, her voice calm but firm, detailing her intentions for each asset, each account, and every condition she had set. My brother's confident mask faltered. My sister's hands gripped the edge of the chair. The weight of truth filled the room like a tidal wave. You see, I said softly, Mom made her choice. She trusted me. And I intend to follow through. My brother's jaw tightened. He realized that charm, threats, or manipulation would not work here. Not with me, and not with the proof of my mother's foresight. Every plan he had carefully crafted, every expectation that I would falter, collapsed in the face of her wisdom and my preparation. My sister finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I understand now. I just hope we can find a way to move forward without breaking apart completely. I nodded. We can. But only if we respect her instructions. That's the only way to honor her memory and eventually ourselves. There was silence after that. The air was thick, not with tension this time, but with the quiet my siblings knew they had been outmaneuvered. Not through deception, but through preparation, clarity, and loyalty to the one who had guided us all. As I left the room, Bailey at my side, I felt a calm sense of victory. Not a triumph over them, but a triumph for honesty, integrity, and for my mother's voice. The path ahead would still have challenges, still have shadows, but for the first time, I was fully equipped to face them. They've seen the truth, but this is just the beginning. The shadows in this family run deep, and I'm about to uncover them all. Even after the meeting, the mansion felt heavy, like it was holding on to its secrets, waiting for the right moment to reveal them. I walked the halls alone that evening, Bailey trailing quietly behind me, his steps echoing on the polished marble. Every room seemed to whisper. Fragments of memories, laughter, arguments, and silences too long to ignore. Then I noticed it. A faint light under the door of the library. My heart skipped. Who else could be here at this hour? I approached cautiously, pushing the door open to find a stack of envelopes on the large oak desk. No one was inside. I sifted through them one by one. They weren't ordinary documents. They were letters meticulously written by my mother over the years, each detailing not only her assets but her observations about our family. Secrets about my brother's hidden debts, my sister's quiet struggles, and even people outside the family who had tried to manipulate her. It was more than information, it was a map. A map to understanding how every piece of our lives connected, how trust had been broken and rebuilt, and how careful one had to be to protect what truly mattered. Bailey leaned over my shoulder, whispering, "Looks like Mom left you more than instructions. She left you her eyes on the world." I nodded, feeling a surge of determination. Every letter, every note, was a key to unraveling the patterns that had controlled our family for decades. If I followed them carefully, I could not only preserve what she had left but prevent the shadows from pulling us apart entirely. But then I noticed something else. A small envelope tucked behind the others, unmarked and heavier than the rest. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a single photograph. My mother smiling, standing next to a man I had never seen in the family albums. And beneath it, a note in her familiar, precise handwriting. Not everything is as it seems. Trust must be earned, and truth often wears a mask. A chill ran down my spine. The mansion, the estate, the family. It was all more complicated than I had imagined. And this revelation hinted that someone or something had been hiding in plain sight all along. I glanced at Bailey. This isn't just about money or property. There's more to uncover. Someone in our midst has been watching, planning, waiting. He nodded, his expression serious. Then we follow her clues. Step by step. We find the truth, whatever it takes. As the night deepened and shadows stretched long across the walls, I realized that this was no longer just about honoring my mother. It was about survival, about exposing the hidden manipulations, and about discovering who I could truly trust in the web of our family's secrets. A hidden legacy, a stranger in the shadows, and a truth that could change everything we thought we knew about our family. The real game has only just begun. The next morning, the mansion felt unusually quiet, almost as if it too was holding its breath. I kept the photograph and the mysterious note close to me, studying every detail of the man in the image. There was something unsettling in his posture, a faint familiarity that I couldn't place. Bailey suggested we start with the estate records. If the man had any connection to our family, it would likely appear somewhere. Property transactions, business dealings, even casual mentions in my mother's correspondence. Hours passed, flipping through dusty ledgers and encrypted digital files. It was tedious, but I could feel pieces of the puzzle starting to shift, like tiny sparks illuminating a shadowy room. Then, unexpectedly, a visitor arrived. A man in a dark coat, with sharp eyes that seemed to measure everything in a glance, claimed he had been sent by my mother herself. He insisted he had information about the family's true inheritance. My instincts screamed caution, but Bailey insisted we listen. The man revealed fragments of what he knew: names, dates, warnings. And then he said something chilling. The one you think you can trust the most, may be the one manipulating everything behind the scenes. My stomach twisted. I thought of my siblings, of close friends, even Bailey. Could anyone really be trusted? The mansion suddenly felt like a labyrinth, each corridor a trap, each smile a mask. Determined to find answers, I went back to the library that evening, scanning the letters and photographs again. Then I found it. A code hidden within the margins of my mother's notes, something I hadn't noticed before. It wasn't just letters or numbers but a pattern. A sequence that led to a safe in the mansion's basement. Bailey and I descended into the basement, the air thick with dust and the faint smell of old wood. The safe was old, sturdy, and unassuming, but the code worked. Inside we found more than I expected. Journals detailing my mother's interactions with the mysterious man in the photograph, legal documents pointing to hidden accounts, and, most surprisingly, a small key with an engraved symbol I didn't recognize. As I held the key, a shiver ran down my spine. Whoever had left it wanted me to find something, and the choice of what to do next could change everything. We returned upstairs, our minds racing. The mansion's shadows seemed to shift with every step, as if watching us, waiting for our next move. A hidden key, a warning from beyond the grave, and a revelation that could expose the traitor among us. But will uncovering the truth put us in more danger than we can imagine? The next morning I couldn't focus on anything else. Every sound in the mansion, the creak of the floorboards, the distant hum of the radiator, even Bailey's soft breathing, felt amplified. That key burned in my pocket like a secret waiting to be unleashed. I decided to start with the journals. They were meticulous, almost obsessive, detailing months of my mother's correspondence with the mysterious man. She mentioned meetings, letters, even discreet phone calls, always ending with a caution. Trust no one blindly, not even family. Something in her words caught me. A specific phrase repeated. The estate's shadow hides more than wealth. I didn't understand what she meant, but instinct told me that whatever lay ahead wasn't just about money. I returned to the basement, key in hand, my heart pounding. The safe was still there, but now I noticed subtle scratches around the lock. A sign that someone else had tampered with it recently. Whoever had been here was either clever or desperate. I hesitated for a moment, Bailey resting his head against my leg as if sensing my unease. I opened the safe with the key. Inside, a small wooden box, intricately carved, awaited me. I lifted the lid. Inside were documents, photos, and letters that my mother had clearly hidden on purpose. Each item revealed parts of the family history I had never known. Financial dealings, secret partnerships, and a network of connections that went far beyond our family name. One document stood out. A letter addressed to me in my mother's handwriting, marked "Read only if the estate comes under threat." My hands shook as I unfolded it. "My dear child," it began. "If you are reading this, then the time has come. You have been cautious, patient, and observant, but beware. Those closest to you may not be what they seem." He wanted copies of all documents our firm had on file. I told him there was a will, but I couldn't release it until after probate. My pulse quickened. He knows. Yes. Which is why I suspect he's been trying to get you to sign a settlement before December 20th. After that date, the will becomes public record. I sank back in the chair, my mind racing. My siblings weren't trying to protect the estate from contests. They were trying to silence me before I discovered the truth. 5 million. That was the amount they'd offered to settle with. 14 million was my mother's choice for me. the betrayal, the greed, the years of assumptions. I felt it all in one suffocating wave. They offered me $5 million to sign away 14. And now I have to decide. Do I take the easy money? Or fight for the truth my mother wanted me to have? I left Patricia Morrison's office with the envelope pressed tightly in my hands. The city streets seemed sharper somehow, the cold wind cutting against my face, as if the world itself knew the storm I was about to walk into. Every step toward my apartment was heavy with thought. I had grown up thinking my siblings and I shared a fair, predictable world. But now the foundation of that belief had cracked, and I could feel the splinters beneath my feet. At home, I locked the door and sank into the sofa. The envelope sat on the coffee table like a ticking bomb. Slowly, carefully, I broke the seal. Inside was a single sheet of paper in my mother's handwriting. Emily, if you are reading this, it means you have found the will. I am proud of you for seeking what is right, even when it is hard. Do not let anyone sway you from your path. Some will try to tempt you with easy solutions. Remember, I trusted you with this because you are strong and you are fair. Love always, Mom. The words burned with a mix of warmth and warning. She knew. She knew my siblings would try to manipulate me. She knew the tests of loyalty and courage I would face. Her lips curled into a faint, cold smile. I could ask you the same, but I suppose it doesn't matter. You've uncovered things you weren't meant to see. And now you're in my way. My heart pounded. Everything I had trusted about our family, every memory of holidays and shared secrets, felt like a lie. Mother warned me about someone trying to claim the estate under false pretenses, I said. Was that you? Lila's smile widened just slightly, and she shook her head. Not me directly. But I'm not blind. I know the others who want the estate. And I intend to be on the winning side. Before I could react, she reached toward the documents. Bailey leapt forward, barking and snapping, but she wasn't deterred. She caught the edge of the papers with her hand and pulled them toward herself. Give me that. I shouted, lunging, but she was fast. The papers fluttered to the ground, scattered across the floor. The basement key, which I had kept in my pocket, fell between us. There was a tense silence. Bailey growled, circling her cautiously. Lila looked at me, her gaze sharp and unyielding. You're stronger than I expected, she admitted. But strength alone won't save you from what's coming. The estate is bigger than you, bigger than me. And far more dangerous than you imagine. Her words froze me in place. Bigger than us? Dangerous? My mother's letters, the hidden documents, the warnings, they were all pieces of a puzzle I didn't yet fully understand. Then, as quickly as she had appeared, Lila backed toward the stairs. Consider this a warning, she said, almost whispering. The moment you think you're safe is the moment you're most vulnerable. She disappeared into the shadows, leaving me trembling, documents scattered, and Bailey by my side. My mind was a storm of questions and fear. But one thing was clear. The mansion held secrets that reached far beyond family feuds. And now someone I had trusted, someone I had loved, had become a threat. I sank to the floor, gathering the papers. The weight of the discovery pressed down on me, but beneath the fear, a spark of determination ignited. I had come this far, uncovered my mother's secrets, and I wasn't going to let anyone, not even Lila, stop me. The walls of the mansion hide more than family betrayal. What I've uncovered is only the beginning, and now the danger has a face I know too well. The next morning, I woke to the soft hum of the city outside, but my mind was far from peaceful. The envelope with my father's letter still lay open on the kitchen counter. I had read and reread every line, letting his words sink in. He hadn't just left me the money. He had left me a message, a legacy, and a reminder of who I was before all the pride, resentment, and distance had taken hold. I dressed carefully, choosing the modest but smart outfit that balanced practicality with the seriousness of the day. Bailey patted alongside me, sensing the tension in the house. Even at 12, he seemed to understand that today was important. Driving to the office of Morrison and Associates, I rehearsed everything I needed to say. No hesitation, no fear. I had to protect what was rightfully mine. When I arrived, Patricia greeted me with a knowing smile. She had seen this resolve before, and I think she respected it. Are you ready? She asked softly. I nodded, swallowing hard. I am. Let's begin the probate process. The next hours were a blur of signatures, verification, and legal formalities. Patricia walked me through every page, explaining every clause, answering every question. For the first time in a decade, I felt fully in control of my father's estate, and more importantly, my own choices. By late afternoon, the official filings were complete. The will was now a matter of public record, and there was no turning back. I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, replaced by an unexpected calm. The money, the legacy, the family drama. It was all resolved, but more than that, I had closure. Before leaving, I asked Patricia one last question. Do you think Kenneth and Maggie will accept this? Her eyes were sharp, yet gentle. They may try to resist at first, but ultimately the law is on your side. Your father made his intentions clear, and that's what matters. You can't control how others react, only how you respond. Driving home, I felt a strange mix of relief and anticipation. The rain had stopped, and the city streets gleamed under the late afternoon sun. Bailey hopped onto the passenger seat, tail wagging, as if sharing in my small victory. That evening, I sat by the fire, letter in hand, reflecting on everything that had transpired. 10 years of silence, pride, and distance had almost cost me the life my father had intended for me. But I had learned something far more valuable than money. I had learned the strength of patience, the power of persistence, and the importance of understanding before judging. I knew that moving forward, I would not just inherit wealth, but also the responsibility of using it wisely. My father's final words echoed in my mind. Do something good with it. Live well, be happy. Find someone to share it with. Give to causes that matter. The choice was mine now, and for the first time in a long time, I felt ready to embrace it fully. As the night settled in, I looked out the window, thinking of my father, my siblings, and the journey that had brought me here. There was still uncertainty ahead, but now it was tempered by clarity and purpose. Whatever happened next, I was prepared. And yet, as I set the letter down and Bailey curled at my feet, a small, inexplicable thought whispered at the back of my mind. Not everything was as simple as it seemed. Sometimes, even after a decade of silence, the past has a way of reaching out. And when it does, the choices you make next can change everything.